Hello YouTube, this is Mr. Chronograph here with the Bulova Chronograph reference 97B148. I've had this watch for almost a year now, and I just wanted to do a little review. Sorry, it's hard to get this thing to focus. So there's the dial right there, zooming in a little, and as you can see, on the right side is where the seconds hand is. There's a date function at 6 o'clock, and there is a minutes timer on the left hand between 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock. I like how they did that. It opens up the face and it just makes it very aesthetically pleasing. Let's take a look at the side here. I don't have a measuring tape to measure it, but it's fairly thick. But not too thick. It's just right, I would say. It's a leather strap right here. One of the downsides to this watch is the leather strap, as you can see here. It's kind of worn there. That's better image. Now at this price point, the watch was originally in the neighborhood of 400 plus. I got it on sale at Lord & Taylor. I had my eye on it for a while. It's just a beautiful timepiece. I got it for about, I don't know, what was it, 150, 180, somewhere in that neighborhood, a good deal. But for the original price point, 400 plus, you expect better quality leather. Now granted, I've worn it a lot. It's definitely seen some wear. But Bulova at this price point could have made the strap one of those deployant straps, the deployant clasps or whatever you call it. There's no iconic tuning fork on the dial. Just get a little zoom there on the dial. Very nice classic look. Almost looks like a poor man's Patek Philippe chronograph. That's what I like to call it, a poor man's Patek Philippe. So, and right here is the tuning fork on the main crown, and you have the push button dials right here. So when I press this one on the top left, that sets off the chronograph, and you have that nice sweeping motion of the chronograph. And if you let it take a little bit, that arrow, the indicator right here on the left, is going to start to move, track the minutes up to 60 minutes or an hour. So you see it moving just a hair, just a little bit. Watch it go the full cycle. And you can see the 60, see the little hand on the left moving past the 60 indicate 1 minute. If you let it go, it'll go all the way up to 60. And I'm going to stop it right there. Now when I press the bottom button, push button, oops, like that, it resets back to its original place at 12 o'clock. And there's a tachymeter around here. It's kind of built into the dial. It's not its separate tachymeter on the bezel. The bezel is just a nice and shiny gold plate like the rest of the watch right here. Again, in my mind, this is very aesthetically pleasing. The dial isn't too busy. I like the two sub-dials on both sides. It's just really nice. It's a work of art. And even if they stole this from Patek, who cares? It still looks beautiful in my opinion. And you can get a Patek looking watch for a fraction of the cost. And the tuning fork is right here on the main crown again. Flip it over, it says Bulova, water resistant, stainless steel, reference 97B148. And there's this strap, it says Bulova. There's the tuning fork right here on this part, this strap right here, the buckle. Get that focusing right there. Here you go, nice tuning fork logo. It's a rich brown cigar color, the band. I like it. Good quality, but here just starting to show its wear. May have to send it to Bulova for a replacement or get an aftermarket deployance strap. Again, at this price point, it would have been nice to have a deployance strap, a clasp, but you know, it's still a very beautiful timepiece. One of the favorites in my collection. I really like to take it out. It's good with dress wear. Also, looks good with more casual wear. You know, jeans or shorts. Looks good. It's a nice touch. It's very classic. I imagine this is the type of wristwatch that gentlemen back in the 1930s would wear, or the 1920s. It's a lot of nostalgia to it, to the design, even though it's a contemporary watch. It's timeless elegance. Nice white dial. Nice thin arrows. First to the little hand and the big hand, nice and thin, classic. As for luminescence, it does glow in the dark. There are little indicators right here. If I zoom in just a little bit, you see the indicators there at 3 o'clock next to the crown. 4, 5, 6, yeah, there are indicators all around, and the hands themselves have some lume to them. So, yeah, there is definitely lume, and it does glow in the dark. However, I tried to turn off the lights and let you see the lume, but it's not too visible. It could just be it's not dark enough, or it hasn't been out in the light enough, but it definitely glows. It's not the best lume in the world, but if you're scrambling, this is the only watch you have, and by your bedside and you're scrambling to tell the time by your watch, it's definitely doable. It's not too difficult to see in the complete darkness. Again, I don't know why the phone can't render it, but the lume is good, decent for the watch at this price point. And just to show you a few more angles here, again, the crown and the push buttons there, and the lugs. It's about, I think it's a 22 millimeter band right here. The strap's 22 millimeters. It's about 42.5 or 43 from this end to this end. So it's a decent sized watch. It's not the biggest watch in the world, but it's also not the smallest. I'm not a fan of small watches. I mean, I think a watch should have presence on the wrist. If it's too small and doesn't get noticed, then what's the point of wearing it? I don't need a microscope. I don't need to use a magnifying glass to see this. I mean, in my opinion, a watch should have presence on the wrist, and I'll just put this on, just give you an idea of the presence it has on the wrist. Alright, this is the watch on my wrist, and zoom out a little bit so you can see it right there. There we go. Kind of twist it this way. Beautiful watch, absolutely beautiful. Again, some of the wear is showing. I've had it for about a year, so it's going to show some wear after a year, you know, removing it, sitting on my wrist all day. Even though I switch it out, I don't wear this watch all the time, but I've been wearing it for the past week or two, and I love it. It's a great watch. I got a good deal on it. They don't make this watch anymore. I think it's been discontinued by Bulova. It's just a beauty. I mean, it's my poor man's Patek. Really a nice timepiece, a good work of art, and just a great all-around watch. I really like it. All right, thanks for tuning in. This is Mr. Chronograph signing off.